Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. And we're back at the smoke room again. This time we're seeing what's going on with Nikolai and Sam. It's been a while since we did this, so let's get into it. I'm glad that the three of you could talk out your differences. I crouch, holding my knees, just to breathe and let my heartbeat catch up with me.
Well, it's good to see you.
I don't know if you had made it out or not. How would I get lost? I have those tunnels memorized.
Just falling and tripping might have been all it takes.
Tripping? I don't trip. Maybe if I was somebody else.
Oh, my light went out. I couldn't help it.
I don't think I've ever heard you scream that loud.
So we're all admitting there was something down there, right?
They both look away from each other and from me.
Let's talk on the road back to the bunks.
I don't want to go back to those bunks, Nick. I don't want to go back to those mines either. He gives me a pained look.
Well, I have to, Sam.
Perhaps not. We have a lot more to think about now.
Well, say what you mean.
Dimitri's injury has caused a commotion tonight. There will likely be a strike tomorrow.
So we have another day?
Only if there's a strike, then yes.
Then I want to go back to the hip tonight.
We should go to Chang's tent first. Others will be there. We walked in silence, stumbling across bushes and dry shrubs until we found the desert road leading back into town. Let's stop for a second. They both stop, looking and turn to me.
We need to talk about what happened down there.
Yao exhales and Nick rubs the back of his head, clawing through his scalp nervously. First, something spoke to us. Then something chased us. There's something down there. I need to hear from you both right now, then. I'm not goddamn crazy, or else I don't think I want to hear from either of you all again.
Whoa. I don't think you're crazy, Sam.
And you already know that I agreed with you before. It's because the both of us knew there was something down there since we weren't looking for those double eagles.
Well, I did not. A mine is barely safe for a team of working professionals. I still do not know what we saw. But if what we saw really was a child, if it was, then we left her there.
Nick.
Why would somebody keep somebody like that down there?
You heard the things she was saying to you. And you heard the size of the splash after. There ain't no damn way that was a little girl.
Do not tell me it was a spectre, Sam.
So what was it then? That remains the question. A tumbleweed passes by, scraping against the rocks as it rolls. I never had a problem checking on this space until tonight. Nick, I know well. You, I know less. Tonight was the first time somebody or something tried to communicate with me, and it was also the first time I brought you. I would like for this to be a coincidence, but I do not know the truth. I hope I discover it sooner rather than later. Do you think somebody's been spying on you, Sam?
No, I don't.
At least I don't think so. Why? If somebody knows we were going to be there tonight because they learned it from stalking you, then that might explain some things. That little girl could have been trained to lure us in. But you saw it, didn't you? Saw what? The thing that was chasing us. I didn't. I was too busy running, which means I did not bother to turn around. What about you, Nick?
My helmet, Sam.
Oh, right. It went out. You probably didn't see a damn thing either. Well, what did you see? I don't entirely. He walks towards me and puts his paws on my shoulders, shaking them. Speak up.
Hands.
Suddenly my brain's all fuzzy. What did I see again? Details are coming and going. Clasping hands. And multiple eyes, too. Then voices. They were all groaning, but it was all wrong. Like they were travelling through long pipes and old tubes. Yao looks sceptical. But Nick looks afraid. Y'all believe in hell? Nick looks a little more dismissive now.
Well, not really.
No. At least not your Christian one. Well, maybe all ought to start. I think there's a demon down there. Maybe more than one. Yao exhales. My parents believed in similar things to what you call demons. Wang Liang was what they called them. They talk about tree roots that could devour people whole. And three-legged reptiles with one eye that could poison entire ponds. Also, withered beasts who dragged their bellies against the ground in the dark places of the earth, who ate only the brains or the liver of the most unfortunate to cross their path. As clever as it pretends to be, the West did not invent superstition. It ain't superstition if it's real. That's exactly what superstitious people say.
Just think about it, Sam. What's more likely? We are chased by a real demon that no museum or no institution ever seen before. Or we are chased by somebody trying to scare us away who wanted gold for themselves.
No way. Ain't a snowball's chance in hell that thing was a person.
I don't know. It seems very close to something somebody like, say, Jack might do.
I feel the fur on the back of my neck stand up. Why bring him up?
Because he might have had collaborators. There were certain people he could charm into doing things. Who is to say somebody's not doing his work even after he is dead?
You guilting me, Nick?
No. I didn't mean to say it like that.
He clicks his tongue 3 times.
I'm sorry. I am not thinking very well tonight. I just meant you weren't the only one he's fooled before with such schemes. Many of us didn't know that he was a swindler until he drained a great deal of collective goodwill. I just think that if somebody is forcing young girls to wait in the mines, then I think we should find a way to help them.
I do not think that is what happened tonight. Whatever spoke to us did not sound like a child. Not really. I thought she sounded off too. It sounded more like a strung-together recording. Like something I'd heard many children speak and tried to be all of them at once. So you agree that whatever we ran into tonight wasn't human? At least not the voice. As for the rest, I do not know. But what I do know is that the gold side is compromised. Wang Liang or no?
Then is the plan off?
If you're still willing to risk your lives, then no. If we go back again, nobody can see us. And it'll be the last time we can go back. We'll take what we need. We can't be greedy. But when? That depends on what we learn tonight. Lights are off and candles are snuffed out in the upper stories of most windows we pass. There's an orange glow coming from one of the bigger tents. Yao goes in first. I expect you more of that language I don't understand, but that's not the case. The hell you been? Out. Hell of a busy night for you out, ain't it? Ain't no excuse not to show up at the chapter headquarters. Nick went inside the tent and I followed him in.
We're terribly sorry, Paul. He was helping me with an urgent matter. It's private.
Paul doesn't even address Nick, his eyes are entirely on me.
Why's the new guy here? This ain't gonna be the place for certain years tonight.
He won't be a problem. Unless he chooses to make himself one.
You shouldn't speak about my friend that way.
I'm careful, not charitable. This man's been your shadow the last few days. Feng as well, though he's been more careful to hide it.
Yao said something loudly and quickly to the Sable. I couldn't tell what the Sable said back, but it's clear that he cut him off and his tone was harsher. Yao said one word in a booming voice. Chang exhaled through his nose, then bit his lip.
Let's get to business then. What do you need to know from me now?
Will there be a strike tomorrow?
There will be.
That's a start. Still won't be enough. It's what worked before. The mine cannot function without its workers. What worked well, we had Dimitri to negotiate on behalf of the chapter. And those bastards tried to kill him. How bad are his injuries? You know him. He's tough. They patched him up and the Big Four is already trying to do paperwork for headquarters again. He's lucky he's going to be walking funny for the rest of his life. He'll lose a foot if he isn't. Sounds like he'll still be able to negotiate on behalf of the chapter as long as we force him to recover.
Paul is right, however. If Dimitri can no longer perform in the mines, he'll become unfamiliar to all of the new workers in time. He won't be able to organize this the way he does now.
Well, I think our superiors need to learn the consequences of their actions. They'll know that if they lose profit. You forget about what happened out east in the mountains? They stick the National Guard on their asses. Mowed down plenty of good men just want to take their lives back. They're already thinning us out. Because they're learning that they can. They end up sending the National Guard for us when we're finished. The West is not the East. We're not big enough to get attention from the President. And the bosses can't afford to be as wasteful here. They know that they need us.
I believe that James is a man who can be controlled through desperation. Biggs is different. He's a man who only respects power. I don't wish to know what lengths he has gone through to retain it. And this means Paul is right. Briggs must know weakness and be forced to face it. What is difficult to ascertain in this area? The arsonists who burnt down the North Star knew this. When Inferno consumes a structure here, there's still to be done to prevent further damage. Briggs owns a ranch on the outskirts of town. We could burn his assets there to diminish his wealth. And give him fear. Now that's what I'm talking about. Suddenly I understand why they didn't want me to hear this. Because I agree with them on that front. I don't need to know a damn thing about this.
No.
No?
Even if I agreed with the idea, there are too many ways it could go wrong.
Wrong how?
The fire could spread to other parts of town.
Ain't the ranch far enough away from everything else for that to be a concern? It is.
What if another worker got hurt by the flames? How would that be right?
Some sick bastards sleep in their barn at night, and maybe it's best they get caught in the fire, if you catch my drift. Just commercial property, not a residence.
Yao. Talk them out of this madness.
This is not a difficult matter.
What do you mean?
If the strike is considered, it ends there. If the bosses escalate, we escalate in kind.
Nick shook his head. That course could get everybody killed.
Then let's hope they don't escalate.
Paul spits on the ground.
Already been trying to kill us, Nick. How to live and live sounds more and more like the best way. How? Unless you want me to sell every possession I own and throw away every relationship I made just to buy a ticket back north so I could beg for another job at the sawmill?
No. I am just concerned this tactic will not get us the results we want. They might become more violent in secret. Dmitri was a soldier, not even he has tried something like this. Why is that? Does he know something that we don't?
Maybe so, maybe no.
Perhaps it's time we asked him.
You all do what you want. I like what the tiger is saying. That's all I've got.
The Wolverine pushes the tent flap out of the way as he storms out.
I smell something funny. It's smoke. My heart starts pounding when I look in the direction of the scent. It's just a sable. He's messing with the lighter and his hands are shaking. Yao says something with irritability in his tone, shaking his head. Chang snaps back and starts to smoke. What are you all saying? I said that I'm hurting. I flinch from the burst of anger and see Yao's ears droop. Chang brings the pipe to his lips and puffs. Well, I can't stay here then. No offense, the last time you made me inhale that stuff, I saw some things I like to forget. Could it really any worse than what we constantly see around us every day? Yao said something a little softer. The sable's lips puffed quicker. You might be surprised.
Would you mind waiting outside for just a bit, Sam?
Did I say something I shouldn't have?
No, but I want to talk to these two alone.
That suits me, fine. I'm not involved in any of this, but I know how to keep my mouth shut. Don't know why Nick or Yao are so involved, considering what the three of us were planning to do. I guess they still care about the people they're leaving behind. I guess I do too. Wish I didn't. I just want this place to become a bad memory. Lose in the chaos of all the places I've been and all the people I'll be. There's always more people to meet. I just want to let go. This place just won't let go of me. I hope Nick can learn to let go with me. Excuse me. Sweet Jesus. Are you alright? No, I'm not alright. You fucking scared me. And you that snooper works with William. Oh, I usually end up working for all sorts of people in town. I guess I could say the same. Sort of. So then what are you doing in a place like this at a time like this? Same reason I thought you were here at first. Customer. I shake my head. Not for me. So I heard. But I couldn't help noticing you said something the first time you took this stuff. You saw something?
First of all, I never took any stuff. I was exposed to it through no fault of my own.
Right. Well, I don't actually care about any of that.
Good.
But I am really curious about what you saw.
Crazy shit.
Well, that's the thing. Opium isn't a hallucinogen.
Isn't it what?
It doesn't make you see things. Trust me, I'd know.
You on something right now?
Well, not as much as I could be. He gives me a reedy little laugh and I raise my eyebrow at him. I just found it sort of peculiar that drugs in this town seem to have different effects when you take them out of town. Just want to know if somebody else noticed that too.
Okay.
Sorry if that was awkward.
You good?
He rubbed his temple and arched his brow, then smiled. Yeah. Also wanted to say sorry for that bet.
What bet?
Oh, you probably don't even remember.
I don't think I do.
He puts his hands into his pocket. That's probably for the best. I was trying to impress you and it obviously didn't work.
Wait.
I think I remember. The other one wanted a night for free. Well, something like that.
That was irritating.
Right. He put something in my hand.
What's this?
It felt like money. This is money.
Sorry, I'm not taking customers tonight.
That's just wasting your time that night.
Oh.
I never seen Nick anyway, so I didn't lose any business. But that could have easily happened.
Well, thank you.
You probably didn't see me, but I saw you at the Stag a few nights ago. I play music there from time to time. I figured since I saw you at a job, you can see me at one of mine. It's a lot more exciting than my other jobs.
Oh, thanks. I'll think about it. Did you get your stuff or what?
I see another of my clients walk up. I don't know his name, I remember the size of his loads. He looks annoyed at first while he looks at the red fox, then freezes a bit when he sees me. It's all right here, Jim.
Okay, good. We can go.
I noticed this tent was so popular in town.
Hey. It's for him, not for me. I need any oriental medicine to get my kicks.
Is that how you talk about me behind closed doors?
I don't talk about you at all. I think about you plenty. You're lucky I'm working tonight is all I'll say.
In the middle of the night?
Well, it's the best time to collect soil samples for the lab. There's nobody checking rocks here or kicking up dust.
What's he doing then? I jerk my head at Murdoch and he pipes up. Jim needs high-quality pictures of the collection sites to pair with the samples. I don't really know much more than that.
And he doesn't need to. Short of his, he tells CGCS where to drill next.
So where do the drugs fit into all that?
Don't ask me, it's supposed to be a quick stop.
They help me with work, is all I'll say.
My brother-in-law knows if you work hard, you get to play hard. Am I right?
Of course.
Speaking of work, we got to go.
He touched my shoulder.
I'm sure I'll see you again soon.
Murdoch's glance darted between mine and Jim's and nodded, letting out a puff of breath.
It's been a pleasure, Mr. Ayres.
Keep what I said in mind. The two foxes trotted off into the dark. For long, all I see is two big tails bouncing before they're swallowed up by the darkness. Huh. Nick's voice calls out to me from inside the tent, and then I hear the flap flutter.
Oh, I think we should go.
I look back at the tent. Is he out coming?
I believe he's staying here for the night.
That's the case. I don't want to go back to the bunks tonight.
Why?
I don't want to be near that mine tonight. I don't know why I've been fine till now, but there's still things I haven't told you.
About what?
Will you come back with me to the hip? Just for tonight? I'll tell you everything. He lets the air escaping with a great hefty sigh.
Okay.
We travel back to the saloon. I see the lights are all on in the windows like usual. It's not the most crowded in the middle of the week, but the hip always has a crowd. So we use the back door to the bar and sneak up the stairs. Cynthia sees me past the counter and I catch her following us. Sam, have things been all right at the mines? I haven't seen you for a few nights.
It's hard.
I can tell. She lowers her voice. You're a bit grimy, so I'll send you up a bucket.
Thanks.
I kept your room locked and tidied. She moves her head towards Nikolai and raises her voice. Oh, by the way, if you have business, don't you be shy about chewing me.
Please don't assume I am that sort of person, miss.
Any business, not just pleasure.
Right.
I'll let you both be for now. She walks by me and leans into my ear. I'll make there 2 buckets. She rushes off down the stairs. I fumble with the keys in my pocket. The bed is very neat and the pillows look recently fluffed.
She's very sweet.
She reminds me a bit of you.
She's very beautiful too. Should I be worried?
I probably wouldn't have ended up here if I had those sorts of inclinations now, would I? He looks away from me, but I can see him smiling at that. He almost looks giddy. I strip out of my clothes and fall onto the bed with my arms wide open. It's nice to hear that spring in the mattress and the softness below my back. Nick is still standing, shifting his weight.
Come, sit. It's very clean.
He sits on my chair.
I don't want to dirty it.
We'll wait for the buckets then. He nods and grunts a cheerful affirmation.
So what did you want to tell me?
I don't know if I want to sour the mood yet. Almost feels like I can hear that noisy sound from the tunnels when I close my eyes. We've been through a lot tonight.
Well, it can't get much worse.
Cynthia could bring us a slice of roasted duck.
You shouldn't say such things.
It's delicious.
Of course it would be delicious. Nothing about a duck could be bad.
Do you really care that much about ducks, or are you just fucking with me?
It'll be more fun if you never know.
What a chaotic thing to say to me. The way Nick brings up stupid stuff like this always manages to lighten the mood. For a moment it feels like things are going to be okay. I can't stop thinking about all the things we got to worry about. I know Nick is running out of money. I feel like the stuff the miners are going through is only going to get worse. I don't even know if Nick will have a job tomorrow to go back to. And the gold. Can you look through my pants, Nick?
What for?
Just look. He looks at me strangely as he picks up my slacks.
They're heavy.
He pulls the nugget Yao gave me out of my pocket. Was it real? The gold, I mean.
Of course it was real, Sam.
See how it bends and shines? Tears well out of my eyes. Okay. I'm glad.
Why are you crying?
It's just hard to trust what I see as of late. I'm just glad it's real. That's all. Can we share it, Nick? He shakes his head.
No. This is yours.
It's enough for both of us. Let's head as quick as we can and split the money.
There's more in the ground. You earned yours. I should get my own.
I don't want you to go back underground. How could you after what you heard? After what you saw? How could you put yourself in danger again? He sighs.
Because life is always dangerous, Sam. You look at this gold and you think it's freedom. But all it takes is men with guns to come to your home and take everything you bought with it.
There's laws, Nick.
We've broken many in this room alone.
Well, yeah, but it's not the same thing as robbery.
Doesn't matter. You think laws will keep you safe until they don't. Sometimes that's a lesson you learn when your home changes quickly and you do not.
I know Nick doesn't like to talk about his life before immigrating. He won't even talk about his family. With him, it always feels like asking to look into someone's private memoir they don't want you to see. Sometimes it feels like he wants to forget them. Then that wouldn't explain the pictures he keeps of them near his bunk. I don't know if they were parents or siblings or his cousins. But whoever they are, I know he still thinks about them. Maybe he lost them. Maybe he doesn't want to lose me too. What's on my mind isn't just the money. That's not relevant to what I have to talk about. I'm not just thinking about money. I saw and heard things no living man should. So did you, I think. I told you what happened the night the Jack drove a pickaxe into my skull. But I didn't tell you what happened after. There was something in the room with me. Breathing. Sniffing. Like some kind of wild animal, only bigger. When I heard it move, it was like no thing I ever heard move. It's like it was coming for me. Drawn to me like a magnet. So much I almost thought it was the devil coming for my sins. Punishing me for the wrong I did when I killed that man.
You were saving your life, Sam.
Doesn't matter. I could have run. I could have learned to forgive him, but I didn't, and I still don't. So I thought whatever's coming for me knew it was my time to die. Drag me down to hell where I belong. Then it tried to get you tonight. Did you see it?
Sam.
I know your light went out. You looked behind me before it did. If you saw it, you're going to tell me.
When I was very young, I learned that certain kinds of fungus could glow in the dark. A schoolmate I knew a very long time ago was very interested in mushrooms. They would report on the different kinds they found, even when it had nothing to do with their school assignments. They were also very interested in eating mushrooms because they said they wanted to live off the land like the old tribes used to. We thought it was just a hobby, but it was actually a problem. Many mushrooms are poisonous. He tried to eat one of the glowing ones and he died. The newspaper said some of it was growing on his body when he was found in the red tent 40 yards from the school grounds. It said that he glowed. I could never get that image out of my mind.
Sounds like a terrible way to go.
Well, I think the mushrooms had to grow on his skin long after he died. I thought I saw him tonight. Parts of him connected by that fungus. Glowing like stars. But instead of beauty or wonder, there was this great emptiness. And I thought about terrible things.
Things like what?
That at least he got to die in his home. And I thought about how I never would. It was just for a little bit, but it's enough to get angry. So angry.
Make it sound like you hate it here. In this country, I mean.
I'm thankful every day to be here. But it's not where I grew up. It's not home. And the people who it is home for always remind you of that. All the while they still want you to be grateful that you're here. I hate that.
I didn't know.
You didn't need to.
No, I want to. It's just I've only lived in my own country my entire life. Makes me feel stupid when I try to ask about any place I ain't from. Like I'm sticking my nose where I shouldn't.
Well, that's how I feel every time I go to buy food and people ask me where I'm from. It can be a threat sometimes. What I saw made me feel all of these emotions at once. Then I thought, how could I be jealous of a corpse? Or is that a way to think? And then my light went out and he got even brighter. And that's when I screamed. Because I wanted my light back. I didn't want to see his light.
Jesus.
There's a quick rap on the door.
Leave them by the door.
Thanks, Cynthia.
We hear a thud and she moves away. Open the door just a crack and grab the buckets. Nick starts undressing when he sees them.
Did you see anything?
Not clearly. Except when the bucket's near Nick's leg and the orange half inside swivels against the sloshing water. I think it was a big evil spider, but I didn't get a good look. I take out a rag from my dresser and hand it to Nick. He dunks it in the hot water and there's steam coming off of it.
So whatever it is we saw, it wasn't the same thing.
I guess not.
There are gases down there that can make you see things. Perhaps there is a leak.
I dunk a rag in my own bucket, then wring it out. Oh, come on.
It does not mean there was nothing there. But it's possible what we saw was different from the truth.
You can't see me roll my eyes when I feel the hot rag over my face. I talk to you.
Somebody did, and it still unnerves me.
I rub my face and see that the rag is black with mud and charcoal. I dunk it in the water again to clean it, then I wash my neck and under my arms. I just don't think it was natural. Whatever's down there is downright evil, and I think it wanted us. Nick is scrubbing between his legs, and the smell of wet badger and citrus is starting to fill the room.
If it did, it didn't try very hard.
It chased us.
But not out of the tunnels.
Well, maybe it can't leave. Maybe there's other people in town who've had similar experiences.
If you ask around, don't let them know where you were looking.
Obviously. He looks at me.
Turn around.
Why? I do it anyway. I feel the wet rag on my shoulders and Nick's big knuckles through them. He starts washing my back and I feel the water run down my sides, then my thighs, drip into the floor.
I needed to get the spots you missed.
Both of our buckets look pretty dark. I turn around again. Oh. He's stiffening up. Usually have to get you started.
Oh, I suppose I missed his privacy more than I realized.
Can't say I'm complaining. I feel the blood flow to my thighs as I watch him grow thicker and I start to stiffen too. Need attention? He looks away like he always does.
To be honest, Sam, I was staring at your back.
You've never asked to try that before.
I've never felt the want to.
So what changed? He stood up from my chair, towering over me. Then he sunk to his knees, holding my wrist. Then he kissed my paw, looking up.
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Nick, this... Are you proposing to me? He chuckled and stood back up, his head well over mine.
There is no marriage for people like you and me. But we have more gold in that nugget than a bride or a groom has on their fingers combined. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. no matter what that condition entails.
His piece is trembling.
Will you accept that?
I thought about that the first time you were my client and you swept me off my feet. You protected and cared for me more times than I can count this week. Yeah. I think I'm ready.
I love you, Sam Ayres.
I'm surprised the first thing I hear when I open my eyes ain't birds or crickets. It's a noisy clamour. Nick is still snoring above me. I squirm out from under him as slowly as I can, feeling his package rub against me as I do. When I get to the window and pull back the curtains, I find a surprise. It's expected to see the mining strike since the evening chapter building is on this street. The crowd looks more like middle and upper class townspeople. It's ladies in Sunday dresses and men in top hats wandering about. The hell? The snoring stops and I hear the sheets ruffle.
What's that noise?
Something irritating.
A shame.
He rubbed his eyes.
Come back to bed?
It's probably almost noon, Nick. You ought to get up.
Your bed is so comfortable, though.
The hell? At least last night was nice.
Every night with you is nice.
I can't help but smile. There's a change of clean clothes in my closet at pouring since clothes from yesterday look a bit grimy. I'll need to do some laundry when I can make the time. I'm going to poke my nose around a bit. There should be a box of jerk meat in the closet to get hungry before I get back. He mumbles what sounds like somebody at protest about eating any of my food under his breath. I'm going to stand around and listen. I wander around the interior balcony, looking down the patrons below trying to catch an ear or an eye shot of what's going on. I see most of them going to the stage room. I loop around the balcony looking down to see Dora and a crowd of people surrounding her. She waves at them, laughing on occasion as she makes her way to the stairs. Then she runs into me. Oh good, you're around today. I would have been around earlier if I knew it was going to be so busy. What's going on? Well, if you were around a little more the past week, you'd know it was my fault. Huh? Relax your shoulders. It's a good day. I sang. And it was magnificent. Harlan looked at her with hope in his eyes. He looked at her as if she was his whole entire world. It's what you're meant to do. This is what people want. What's the occasion? I turned 60. First time in 3 years I sing for a live audience, and I find I still have fans. Who knew? W.C. Handy knew. Oh, it's very flattering. So much that I may have to do an encore tonight. Only fools would miss it. Back when I could still hit all of the pitches I wanted, you mean? She winks at me. Don't get old until you're tired, Sam. I do not entreat to be contrarian, ma'am. But I was told by many your performances had no empty seats. A middle-aged sheep who has perfectly placed wool and who is perfectly polite speaks up. Her voice reminds me of the peal of a crystal bell, so much it's almost strange to hear. Dora laughs and smiles a little smile before she responds. Cordelia, that was such a long time ago. And it's all true. Every last word. Harlan. Yes, ma'am? Could you return to the bar? There's good money to be made. At once, madam. She nods as he steps off. Of course, you must know that so many girls dream of doing what you did. Of course. It must be ever so frightful to arrest a stage filled with thousands of people or more. I shrink from the thought. Well, I shrank from all the noise. I'm a lot more comfortable now. I'm a bit of a performer myself, you know. Mostly just private tarot readings. I could do a reading for you soon if you like. Oh, I think that sounds lovely.
Tarot readings? Like magic?
I must apologise, but I insist you shouldn't call it that. Perhaps I could call myself a medium if I were to be bold.
So you know about strange things? Ghosts, monsters?
Well, yes. There are endless things that one could consider when delving into the metaphysical.
I'm looking for somebody who might know a thing or two about things that are impossible.
Harlan takes stock in such things. He used to perform as a mentalist, though the things he did were only tricks.
Yeah, I can barely ever hold a conversation with him. The sheep takes a certain step towards me.
Your name is Samuel, if I heard right?
Yes. She smiled and held her hand to her bosom.
How wonderful. My husband has told me all about you.
Husband? I freeze when I hear James Hendrick's voice calling down from the bottom of the stairs. His hooves clop as he ascends the stairs, meeting me eye to eye.
Well, well. Enjoying your day off, Samuel? Can't say I blame you. There isn't a finer place in town to do it.
Sam. I hear Nikolai's voice. I turn to see he's turning a corner. I need your help with something.
And who's this robust fellow?
I am nobody.
Well, everybody's somebody. No, don't just stand there jabber-jawed. My beautiful wife has asked you a question.
He says that a bit aggressively. She laughs at that, and it's such a warm, jolly laugh that it somehow manages to lighten the mood.
Please don't pay heed to my husband's zeal. There is no need to answer if you do not wish.
My surname is Kroll. I work for your husband.
Now there's a name I haven't heard before.
She turned to James.
If he works you, then you should know it. I knew his name, my treasure. I merely request he show you the grace you deserve. And that grace was well received.
She curtsies deeply to Nick, bowing.
Now, there's no need for that. There's no need for many things, but I shall entreat to do what I like. That's very true, my treasure. But that man you're speaking to is part of the association causes so much worry as of today. And how would strike too were my concerns rebuked so coldly.
James took Cordelia's hand and stood in front of her.
I agree that concerns should be met. That such things require a stern hand. And what of a softer approach?
She patted his wrist. Then she turned to the both of us.
Now I know I don't have a mind for mine. I can only speak on my husband's behalf as one half of the trust for the CGCS. But as a public person, I am well aware that more than half CGCS's labour men did not make their persons present at the company this morning, and the production is halted for the day.
From my understanding, this strike calls for a conversation about wages and about safety.
I don't believe the conversation will be held with a closed door, so I would like to open the doors to our manor to you.
Nick is smiling the biggest I've ever seen him smile. Well, now that you bring this up, I couldn't agree more.
James's voice beginning to crack. Darling.
She shakes her head and pulls her wrist away, lilting.
I am no darling today.
Madame Dora looks politely confused and takes a puff from a cigarette, like she doesn't need to be here right now. She is plausibly interested in whatever anybody's going to say next.
Mrs. Hendricks turns back to us. I should like to live in a future where my son breaks bread with the men who brought it there all the way from the field.
She holds out her left hand to Nick.
I would like to have you over for lunch, if you had accepted, Mr. Kroll.
He nods. Of course.
And I would find it ever so lovely to hear your thoughts on the metaphysical, Mr. Ayres.
This seems like a bad idea, and I don't know what metaphysical means, but Nick said yes, so I nod my head fiercely. She takes out a small purse which holds note cards and a pencil, and she writes down an address.
We're just up the hill, but here's our address if you need it. Please come as quickly as you can. I'll make sure preparations are in order.
She hurries off running off with her wrists held in the air.
So be it then. If this be the way of things, then we mustn't putter about. Oh, and thank you once again for the performance, madam. And you as well.
That wipes a smile off his face, and he goes stony. He brushes off his shoulders, nods to the two of us, and walks out. Mr. Hendricks seemed pretty upset.
Oh, let him be upset. He could stand to do it more.
Well said.
Oh, and Sam?
Yes, ma'am?
Do make sure to be kind to Cordelia. She's always supported us generously. And Lord knows she could use more people to talk to.
Yes, ma'am. Not exactly a people person, Dora, but I'll do my best. As luck would have it, it's fucking roasting outside. I can already feel the sweat soaking into my shirt. Was it a good idea to say yes to all this? Who can say? I just thought it was funny to watch him suffer.
A tumbleweed passes as we walk in the direction of the manor.
Why don't your friends see us walking up into James's house? Why, they get mad? I might be pleased if what Mrs. Hendricks said was genuine. If she has some sway over James, the only one left we have to worry about is Briggs.
When they told us their house was up on the hill, they weren't exaggerating. It took a good 20-minute walk to get to the gate of their property. A wolf with a holster on his hip watches us from the other side of the gate. He drags the gate open and holds it.
Oh, thanks.
He looks forward, refusing to make eye contact. As we move closer, we can see a massive house made of stone and wood, decorated a lawn full of stubby succulents and spiny flowering cacti. There's another gunman on the porch watching us. He nods at us as we pass. We knock on the front door. We're greeted by an old raccoon wearing a black vest at the door. I gasp because I don't think I've ever seen a piano that big before. And those look like genuine metal men from old times. He curtly directs us through to the hallway, and Mr. and Mrs. Hendricks wait for us. She's drinking rose-coloured tea from a kettle. He's swirling dry wine in a glass. It's so good that you've made it. Please, come sit next to me. Mr. Hendricks stares at Nick. Oh, between us. Would you sit with us too, Mr. Kroll?
It is more comfortable to me to stand.
Right, well, I'll help prepare us drinks. I know that it was terribly hot outside today. You should have the cook do that. It's why she's here. Well, I don't feel like being lazy today. She disappeared off to the kitchen. I hope you like my home, Samuel.
It's very nice.
And very big. Its history is what it is. The very table we eaten off was passed down by my grandfather. He reclaimed the wood from the very shipwreck of the vessel he sailed upon when he first travelled to this country.
Was he a knight?
Excuse me?
You know. I make a swinging motion with my hands and bring it down on the table with a bang.
James flinches.
Oops. They hold swords. A statue of them in the entryway.
Oh, you mean these suits of armour? Those are just a symbol of love for our country's heritage.
Are they expensive?
Exceedingly so. Even in their era, only the wealthiest men could be encased in steel when they went off to war.
I wonder what it'd be like to wear it. It does not look comfortable.
James leans forward and shoots me a smile. Oh, would you like to try it on? Are you serious? Well, why not? I've had these things my whole life. Might as well use them. Am I into this? I think about marching around this man's massive house, clinging and clang as I wave a dangerous weapon over my head. There's a lot of appeal there. But Nick is giving me a look. Maybe later. Just say the word and we can make it so. Look who I thought was lost and now it's found. Cordelia is swaying back and forth with the big machine in her arms. Looks like a big metal pot with a crank. Have you boys ever had homemade ice cream before? I thought you were going to read his fortune, Cordelia. But it's so hot outside. This would be perfect. And sure, the order of our affairs shouldn't matter. If you tire yourself out, you could lose yourself in that room all night. Efficiency, Cordelia. She sat on the machine on one of the dining room chairs. And this is our home, not your business. I would like some time to speak with Mr. Kroll alone, anyhow. Please take him upstairs. She sighed. That's all you had to ask the first time. She looked at me. Do you mind if we do the reading now? No, that should be fine. Let's be on our ways then. She leads me back to the foyer where the man in black coat nods as we pass him. She's halfway up the stairs before I stop. How come the high platforms don't have any railing? She stops. This was the first time she'd ever heard this question. Oh. Pray forgive the sheep architecture. We often tend to admit them. Don't people work here that aren't sheep? Well, yes. I believe the servant staircase has them. A servant staircase? Old house, old ways. We reached off the stairs and turned into a long hallway with many doors and several different corners. Would you believe there are entire floors and rooms reserved for the servants I've still never seen? Don't you live here? Well, yes, but the servants' quarters are designed not to be seen. As are the servants. And some of them have lived here longer than I have. So you're not from around here? Not initially, but I hope to believe I've acclimated enough. Lady, you haven't. We turn another corner and find a large set of double doors in front of us. Cordelia pulls the door away and I gasp. Inside is a room full of flowering plants, bright paintings and delicate curtains, with a glass ceiling letting light shine into a round table with 2 wicker seats. The side door opens and the maid on the rolling table sets out a tea set for putting it away and disappearing wordlessly. Cordelia isn't even dressed as she takes a seat, lifts the table curtains and pulls out a pack of cards. She gestures to the chair across from her. Please sit. I pull the chair away from the cloth and plop down. Okay. She's shuffling the cards in her hand now. Now that we're by ourselves, there's a couple of things I want to ask you. Just ask the cards. I think paper's going to get into the specifics I'm looking for. She stopped shuffling. Then what did you want to ask me? Did you ever hear about stranger stuff going on in this town? Stuff you think you'd believe only if you saw it too? Oh, all the time. She leans in closer to me. Occultists consider this town a hotspot. A hotspot for what? Anything you could name. Ghosts, ghouls, demons, spirits. Things not of this earth. The popular opinion in town is this is the natives' fault. But anyone who's made the most cursory investigation of the culture knows they reject occult practices outright. And there are other ideas about portals. Portals? She nods. Ideas about other worlds filled with people and creatures beyond our imagining. Existing right on top of ours, even. When the barriers between worlds weaken, sometimes things slip through. Sometimes it's them, sometimes it's us. If it's truth and not fiction, how much it must be frightful for every party involved. We do like our familiar comforts. She pours herself a cup of tea. What about ghosts then? Know anything about those? I fear I know more about ghosts than I'd like to know. And how's that? She looks to her left, then to her right, then over her shoulder. Because I know for certain that this house is haunted.
For certain?
For certain.
How do you know?
Well, sometimes there's sounds in the walls where there aren't any rooms. And people are talking where they couldn't be. I've also heard things walk in the hallway at night that weren't servants. And voices have made sounds I don't think it's possible for a mortal body.
Noises like what?
She starts to hum. The fur on my neck sticks up.
I think I've heard something like that before.
Everybody in this area has. Same hum, same reaction. It's not the real thing, but it's close enough. It's like something we hear, then we forget. But when we hear it clear enough and loud enough, we know that we've heard it before.
Well, what is it?
It just is. Nobody really knows. Those who know how to listen for it generally manage to find it again before it goes quiet.
Strange.
That's the word we use when we come to accept that it's here. Because we know it's the truth.
I think I learned about something worse than ghosts a few nights ago. So far, nobody's been able to help me.
She looks at me.
Feels like there's genuine worry in her eyes.
There's always somebody you can find who's willing to give you an answer. A lot of people tell you they have all the answers to everything. Even if they don't know the truth.
What if there's somebody out there who knows the truth? How could I find them?
Oftentimes you can't. The answers aren't the most important thing in the world.
Now what do you think then what do you think is?
She shakes her head and the light from the ceiling shifts across the side of her face, and she beams so hard she practically glows, like breaking in a sunburst. Being kind.
I cross my arms and sigh. Well, that's your answer. What can your tarot cards tell me? I don't put none of my faith into devil stuff.
Tarot isn't devil stuff. It's a card game developed during the Renaissance meant to reveal the truth of the world to the viewer through their own understandings. The deck is full of cards that contain a great variety of meanings. Whether or not a card is upside down or right side up, when you reveal it, changes the meaning too. Shall we try it?
All right.
Splendid. Oh, it's always so exciting to give somebody their very first reading. Right then, take a look at the table. The first card I draw and you overturned represents something about your past. The High Priestess.
Who's she?
She represents passivity, insight, mysteries. When she's right side up, it tends to mean you've made a lot of useful discoveries in your past. That there'll be more knowledge to come, but only if you trust your instincts.
So I'm already winning? Easy.
This isn't about winning or losing. It's more of a strong suggestion to stay your current course. Next set of cards represents something going on in your life in the present.
Well, I thought you said there was going to be any devil stuff.
He's just a character. We aren't paying him homage. People are usually surprised to learn the devil isn't a bad card. He's a symbol of earthly pleasures. It could be a love for money or for lust, perhaps finer things in general. But he's upside down. That could mean you're doing something to sever yourself from something. Maybe a rocky relationship, maybe an addiction. Or maybe in the process of losing something you do not want to lose.
Right, your other idea is better.
I think it's up to you to decide which ideas resonate better anyway. Now let's move on to the last card. I seem already guessed, but this one is about your future. something that may or may not be manifested by the paths you take. Shall we go on?
Sure.
Okay. Oh. Brace yourself for this one. I lean forward. The tower card is not good. The one people watch out for more so than the devil.
Well, what does it mean?
Change through chaos or violent destruction. She opens her mouth and closes it, humming. A positive spin on this could be that you welcome the change. She waves her hands about. She's trying to think quickly. That an obstacle which is part of your life needs to be changed or pulled up by the roots, so to speak.
Well, I don't worry very much about pieces of paper.
That might be a prudent attitude in this case. Keep in mind these readings are never final. Don't like what you hear, there's always ways to change it. If you do like it, then just continue as you are and be mindful of your reading. I hope the cards revealed to you what you needed.
Most of the thing they're just pieces of paper.
That's all there ever be to some, and that's perfectly fine.
Before I go, I have another question. You said James, I mean your husband, talks about me. What exactly does he say?
Well, he was honest.
Oh.
His dalliances help keep him regular, which is why I can only support them.
Wow.
Still illegal, of course. Wrongly, I might put. She pats my wrist. Your secrets are safe with me, though in perfect honesty I feel they aren't my place to trifle in to begin with.
I see. You feel a little dizzy, or is that just me?
It's a hot day. Have you had any ice cream before, Mr. Ayres?
No. If it's what it sounds like, which is milky ice, I think I'll pass.
Let's sneak off to the kitchen and have some, shall we?
She seems really excited about this. I guess I can try some. Just to be nice. She's been more than nice to me. I feel lost when she leads me past a series of doors and corners again, passing hallway after hallway until we reach the stairs again. I remember they don't all have rails and they're much more terrifying going up than they are going down. She offers a hand to help guide me down, which I don't dare refuse. I rest easy when we get to the bottom again.
Let's sneak around to the kitchen the other way just in case Mr. Kroll and my husband still have matters that they'd like to discuss.
Instead of going right, we go left. We pass a room full of fine seats and couches huddled around a fireplace. They enter a series of hallways again. There's a ballroom with a fully stocked bar that's even bigger than the hips and a gramophone. There's another long hallway. We follow it, taking a left, and find ourselves in an open kitchen with a tall ceiling. A female wolf is chopping vegetables.
Good afternoon, Chef Hattie. Good afternoon, Mrs. Hendricks. Could you put out 4 bowls in the yellow tub in the icebox on the table?
Of course, right away. The wolf crouches and pulls a tub out from a small dark box underneath the marble countertop. And she places it in front of Mrs. Hendricks. The sheep pulls the lid off and scoops a bit of fluffy off-white material out of the tub. She offers a spoon to me.
Try it.
I take the spoon and shovel it down.
Oh wait, not that fast.
This is cold. This is fucking cold! There's a sharp pain in my head and I sputter, gagging on this stuff. I have to go to the sink to spit it all out, but the pain was already gone. The flavour is sugary and sweet with a bit of burnt sugar taste. Hey, that is good. Why didn't it kill me at first?
Because it's a frozen dessert. The ice part is an exaggeration, Mr. Ayres.
But it's soft. Ice is hard. Frozen things are supposed to be hard. Why did you make this?
Well, I'm glad that you asked. The base is a mixture of eggs, yolk, sugar and high-fat milk, plus salt and flavouring. You can put your favourite candies or cake crumbles or swirls of chocolate in too. It makes a very versatile treat.
She crouches down to open her icebox and produces a large metal bowl and shows it off to me.
This is the tip of the base before it's frozen if you want to try some. I scoop some out with my spoon and sip.
Oh, it's way too strong.
The only thing now is it's not frozen. Freezing dessert dulls its taste. You have to make it stronger to compensate for that. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I may use this counter to chop vegetables. The master of the house is very insistent on potato bisque tonight. I get the strong impression she wants us out of her way. Of course, we'll be going right away. Thank you for your help.
Always a pleasure.
I walk straight through a doorway and end up in the dining room again, which, upon reflection, shouldn't be that much of a surprise. Nick and James are sitting in silence. Doesn't seem like they're doing much talking. James, is there anything in the basement I should regard before I go down there? I want to show Mr. Ayres how I make the ice cream. Not at all. In fact, why don't you mix the crawl down with you? His brute strength is suited to dark places.
Oh, I'm flattered.
He stands up and walks over to me and puts an arm around my shoulder.
We've been very deep together.
James starts laughing, but it's not the kind of a laugh he makes when he's amused. Mrs. Hendricks doesn't seem to notice and claps her hands. Well, aren't you three as thick as thieves by now? Let's all get to the cellar. As we turn another corner, I see James drop his fork. It's completely bent out of shape. Mrs. Hendricks takes us back to the main entrance, the room with the couches, and through another hallway. We go through a doorway that opens to a dark cellar staircase. She leads us down the stairs, her hooves clicking delicately as she descends. Please don't pay the cellar much mind, we're still renovating. She says that she's legitimately used to strangers judging her cellar. I know my voice, only Nick can hear it. Cellar's just for storing all newspapers and boxes you don't need.
Oh, I thought they were mostly for making spirits.
She takes us through a counterclockwise path past a bench with weights, a subdivision with a pool table, and another section that looks like there's enough shelved goods to get the entirety of Echo through the winter. We keep walking till we get to a section that looks like it's below the stairs we came from. Beside is the thinnest looking door I've ever seen.
And where's that supposed to go?
Oh, that leads to the crawl space below the house.
Why is the entrance so small?
Most people used to be a lot smaller 50 years ago than they are now. That's just ridiculous. I think they didn't want the swing to take up much space. We haven't bothered replacing it because we aren't down here enough to be fussed with it. She opens up the door and squeezes through, protecting her head with her hand. I walk through next, and so does Nick. The crawl space is big enough to stand in, but only if all of us crouch. It's very dark and hard to see anything here. At the opposite end of the room, a speck of light shines on a metallic handle on the door to a room that looks like a bunker. Why did you all put your ice in the room this far out of the way? Well, it's the coldest location on our property, which really makes a difference for the ease of storage. It's hard to keep up a steady supply of ice in the middle of the desert, you know. She opens the door and I feel the rush of cold wind that would be refreshing in any other location. Here it just chilled me to the bone. I don't want to be in here long or else too much cold air gets out. Shouldn't be much longer. Let me get some of the older ice at the back of the room and use that up first. Huh. We hear her shuffle through boxes and while tossing one of them out of the room. Don't know why something like that was in here.
What is it?
It felt rather light, so I'm not very sure. Sounds like it might be filled with paper. Certainly not the right place for something like that. Mrs. Hendricks starts humming to herself as she goes through her boxes, perhaps getting a bit carried away with how she's organising them. She isn't paying attention to me or Nick at all right now. Nick drags the box Mrs. Hendricks discarded to a corner in the crawl space where a beam of light was shining down.
Why?
Why what? I understand why he's confused now. What Mrs. Hendricks do is a box of pictures. Pictures of people who work as CGCS. He's holding one up in his hand. I glimpsed it and see him. A big cat with stripes who's probably Yao, and somebody else who I can't quite make out. He holds it away from me. Hey, let me see.
Well, I don't think that you should.
I don't care if it's an unflattering angle of you, I just want to see. He sighs and tilts the picture. There's another old, scruffy man in the picture. Ah. He puts his big arm on my shoulder.
How do you feel? Considering.
Now? Just angry. He grunts in agreement. If he's still alive, I just want to stomp on his tail while he dragged it along the floor. He looks like he's worried about me again.
Maybe he hurt you worse than I thought.
Huh? Now what's that supposed to mean?
It was strange how you said that. In fact, it...
Help! There's a sudden crash when you hear boxes tumbling around in the ice house. Oh no! Mrs. Hendricks screams a very high, very girly scream. I said help! Please, somebody help me!
Are you alright? What happened?
It's terrible. It was completely frozen and shouldn't have been in there.
What shouldn't have been in there?
A bug.
A bug?
I keep these iceboxes sealed tight for restaurant quality. Somebody's been careless with the packaging. There we go, that was the latest smoke room update. Crawl space always seems to be a problem anytime we go in it. As you remember back to Carl's Route and Echo. But you want more smoke room? And tomorrow, as I record this, I'll be getting together with Doug the Red Panda and Fallen Wolf and a few other people. And we'll be going through the Smoke Room Summer AU, which you may have read already. We're off to the beach. And it'll be a full cast recording. So there'll be something to look out for. That will be on Dirk the Red Panda's Twitch channel. I'll put a link in the description for you. And if you don't get to see it, I'm sure he'll put it somewhere else as a recording. And on Twitch, on YouTube. So you can catch up with all of us doing that later on. And for next weekend, there'll be something new coming up. And maybe also next weekend or early next week, we'll be doing a premiere presentation. Which will be Lars Day 9 in After Class. I know it came out, and I've just been waiting to find the right time to do that. So there'll be a premiere with Lars coming up sometime. I will let you all know when I know it's going to happen. That's it for now. As always, thanks to all my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon. I very much appreciate all of you, especially with how tight money is at times. It really is getting bad in some places. So yeah, if you need to stop supporting, I do understand. Just stick around and watch the videos. I prefer that above everything else. You're all here watching these, so it's worthwhile doing them. But as always, my top patrons. They are Burnt Toast, Kartek, Cobus Visser, Misuksu, Larkuskaton, Bastion, Brian Hall, Tiger Cub, Ida Corval, Anubis Silverwind, Dissonance, Grizz, Spiderling, Kopi, Sindri Dragowolf, Marcus, Evan King, Monolay, Exact, and Dumb Pistachio. Well, thanks to all of them, especially. And thanks to all my other donators. Yeah, I hate leaving people out, so if I don't mention your name, yeah, I do appreciate you. Trust me on that one. Until we return tomorrow with the Smoke Room full cast, and on the weekend will just be me with something new. Bye for now.